The Oklahoma City Thunder had arguably the most successful draft this year and perfectly set themselves up for the future to one day be in contention to win multiple NBA championships. They had 4 total draft picks this year, 3 in the first round, all of which took place in the lottery, and all in their own separate ways look to be nothing but fantastic selections, making this rebuilding process for the Thunder look like it's going to be over a lot sooner than most people expect. In this video, I'm going to be going over all of the selections they made, how they fit in with the rest of the young core, and why the future of this team is going to absolutely terrify the NBA in just a couple of years. It all starts with their first selection in the draft in Chet Holmgren, who looked to be a lock for Sam Presti to select the moment the Thunder were gifted the ability to select second overall. To some, Holmgren was the best prospect in the draft, and I certainly think there is an argument for that as well, because what we saw him do last year in the NCAA was one of the most dominant performances out of a big man coming out of college we have seen in a very long time. He is the Thunder's future at the center position, being able to do it all both offensively and defensively, as he without a doubt in my mind has the highest upside out of any of the prospects in this draft. He's an elite shot blocker, being listed at 7 feet tall with his remarkable 7'6" wingspan, which allowed him to average 3.7 blocks per game in college. He can guard multiple positions as he's quite agile for a 7-footer. He can handle the ball, make plays for his teammates. He will be an elite stretch big as he shot 39% from beyond the arc last season. His basketball IQ is off the charts on both ends, and to round it all off, he was statistically the most efficient inside scorer in the country last season as he shot 73.7% inside the arc at Gonzaga. The one area where Chet gets a ton of hate as a prospect is his weight, as he's listed at just 195 pounds, and although I can see why many people could view this as a concern, I don't understand why so many people completely discredit what he was able to do in college because of it. Yes, he isn't anywhere near his full potential and definitely does need to add some muscle, but frankly, this is an awfully similar argument to one of Kevin Durant, who I think he sneakily resembles a lot when he was drafted, and look how that turned out for people who questioned if he could survive in the NBA. With time, he's going to be put on mass gaining programs, and until then, his skills matched with his length more than make up for his lack of strength, so I see no issues with giving the man time to develop and grow into his body, as the window of opportunity for the Thunder to compete for titles is still years away, as time truly is a luxury for this group, and this is seriously a one-of-a-kind talent that is going to blossom into an NBA superstar. The next selections made by the Thunder are Umarjiang and Jalen Williams, who were taken back-to-back with the 11th and 12th picks in the draft. These are 2 prospects that have tremendous potential and versatility at the forward position, and Sam Presti even said after he made the selections that he wanted to ensure that he got both of these prospects, not just one of them, so he made that trade on draft night with the Knicks to send 3 future lottery protected picks in exchange for the 11th pick in the draft. They're both going to be considered projects with the Thunder to allow them to develop into their full potentials, but even then, I still think they're going to have decently big opportunities off the bench this year, with the potential chance to start every now and then because of injuries and rest. The only 2 positions on OKC's starting lineup without a clear lock for the future are the small forward and power forward positions, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of these 2, if not both, end up being the guys to fill in that job down the line, as it's still not cemented in stone that Bazley and Dort will keep those spots forever. Nonetheless, competition in this room is going to be extremely beneficial for this group to ensure that they figure out who are the right guys for this job and for the team's future, as Jiang is a prospect that gives a ton of size on the court, being listed at 6'10", 260 pounds with a 7'1" wingspan. He offers a unique blend of defensive and playmaking ability, as he routinely guarded multiple positions and absolutely locked them up in the process. With his length, lateral quickness, and instincts, he perfectly fits the mold of being a taller guard or point forward on the Thunder with Gideon Gilgeous-Alexander, with his potential to handle the rock and set up his teammates at his size. And on top of this, his offensive skill set was buried under his stat line, as he had a bad start to the season in the NBL, and this is an area that I think is completely underrated. He ended up averaging 14.2 points per game, 4.4 rebounds, over a steal per game, 48.4% from the field, and 35.7% from 3 in his last 11 games in the NBL, where I think this turnaround more closely resembles what he has to offer in the NBA, as he was dealing with injuries and playing time issues to start out the year, and the numbers he was able to put up when he was finally given a proper and consistent amount of minutes while he overcame his injury issues tells me he has the potential to be an absolute stud at the next level. level. These types of numbers out of him professionally in the NBL are absolutely fantastic considering how young of a prospect he is, while having to deal with the physicality that is talked about mightily from anyone who comes out of the NBL, as his numbers very closely resemble those of both LaMelo Ball and Josh Giddey, two former NBL players, while he played way less minutes than the two of them. And then we have Jalen Williams, who the Thunder selected right after Jiang. He's slightly shorter, being listed at 6'6", weighing 209 pounds, and he too has a wingspan of over 7 feet like both Holmgren and Jiang, as his is 7 feet and 2 inches. He's an extremely well-rounded prospect with a great handle who showed that he can cross up many great defenders in college. He was easily one of the best playmakers and passers in his class. His pick and roll game was flawless on offense, and overall he simply was an expert at putting the ball in the basket, being able to average 18 points per game, shooting 51.3% from the field and 39.6% from three. The three selections this team made in the first round, in my opinion, were phenomenal choices for the Thunder organization, as they made it clear they were looking for a specific type of prospect with each pick, and they were able to stay true to this draft philosophy they set up. All three guys are taller playmakers. They all have wingspans over 7 feet. They all have the ability to guard multiple positions at a high level. They're all athletic. They can all shoot the three ball at a high clip, with two guys who averaged 39% last season from beyond the arc, and Jiang doesn't fall very far behind that in his last 11 games, as 3-point percentage was an area where OKC ranked in last place last season. All in all, OKC made a clear indication that they are setting up their future team to adapt to the new wave of the NBA, which is positionless basketball, where down the line it's looking like every single one of their starters, and even the guys they bring in off the bench, will have the ability to guard multiple positions, be incredibly intelligent players who can handle the rock and set up their teammates, while also being able to hit threes. What the future holds for this group is incredible with the amount of potential and depth they have, as Giddey and Shea have already made statements that they will be a top backcourt in the NBA down the line. Chet, like I've already mentioned, has all the tools to be a superstar, and this franchise has a multitude of young forwards that will have equal opportunities to battle for the last two starting spots or contribute as very solid options off the bench, where I think that it's no question that at least two of them will emerge as being stars of their own and allow for this team to seriously compete in the playoffs in just a couple of years with their own version of a death lineup. They're going to be one of the most annoying teams to play against with how much versatility they bring to the table on both sides of the ball, and the scariest part of it all is the fact that on top of the boatload of young prospects they have, they still have so much draft capital in the upcoming drafts where they can either continue to add on to this amazing core using their draft picks or package the picks together to trade for a superstar or even a top draft pick. Either way, Sam Presti and the Oklahoma City Thunder have set themselves up beautifully for the future, and it's very safe to say that their rebuild looks like it's going to be coming to an end very soon, with the potential this group has to make some noise in the NBA in just a couple of years. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe. It's free and it helps me out a ton.